And welcome to Cruising with Kayfabe. I'm Mongo.
I'm Emily.
And today we're going to be talking about Double or Nothing 2023, as well as Fight Forever, CM Punk, some Collision, and other wrestling. And we just figured it's in honor of Emily's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
We figured we go live and we do this episode live. So we are currently live on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can find us at Cruising with Kayfabe on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and TikTok at It's Mongo and at Cruising with Kayfabe _Emily. We're really excited to talk Double or Nothing because I know we kind of went back and forth about it. I know we kind of talked about what we liked and what we didn't like. But I think we should run down because, in fairness, it wasn't that bad of a card to kind of jump ahead.
It really wasn't. It was pretty short considering it's AEW and they usually go a lot longer. I was expecting Anarchy in the Arena to definitely go a lot longer, but I think it went perfectly.
I mean, from what I'm reading, it sounds like they wanted to go a little longer and they wanted to have some different spots, but it was the hockey playoffs. They had just gotten done, so there could have been some time constraints and other things. But I think the only thing that I want to point out is, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, man, Vegas, step it up. That crowd was dead.
Yeah, the first half of the show was really hard to kind of gauge, especially with like the Jericho match that we were really looking forward to.
Yeah, it was like the air was sucked out of them before the pay-per-view even started. And it's a shame because you're used to seeing, especially in wrestling right now, wrestling is hot. WB is hot. AEW's been hot. And then they go to Vegas and it reminds me of the golf crowd, just the slow clap. Yeah, good stuff, good stuff.
Is it because it was so early on in the day compared to like the East Coast?
That's not an excuse because Seattle was a rocking crowd. California was a rocking crowd. We have friends up north that'll be on time delays that are going to be a rocking crowd. I just think that it's oversaturation in Vegas. I think that they're spoiled. They've had 4 straight Double or Nothings, 3 if you count, because of the pandemic. And I almost just feel like there's no FOMO. There's no, we're going to miss this. It's, we'll just go next year.
It really seems like that's how it is going to be. I mean, everybody's like, oh, we'll do this again next year. Oh, we'll do this again next year. And I'm happy for everyone that gets to keep going, honestly, kind of jealous. But if you were there, let us know. Was it as dead as it sounded?
I know. I want to know who is in Vegas, who's in that crowd, because I've heard from a few people that went, and some people said, no, the crowd was loud, and other people say, yeah, I know they were dead. And unfortunately, there's a lot of trolls online who are trolling them about, they had to give away free tickets and this and that and whatever. But that's all hyperbole. That's all just what trolls and people who don't like it want to say. I just can't believe that people would want to down AEW and want to down something from succeeding. And I want to give a shout out right now. We have Honor the Elite watching us live, who's a big inspiration to me. Honor the Elite is on Facebook. His name is Gary Joe. He's a really good guy, huge AEW faithful, huge AEW fan, huge Darby fan from what I'm seeing. And his positive space is really what inspired me and you to want to create this positive space on a podcast and talk about AEW and Double or Nothing and the passion, because at the end of the day, we're all wrestling fans. We're all in it to watch the same product and have fun.
It's really nice that there is such a good fan base out there. No matter the product that you are watching, it's very inclusive.
And that's one thing I really like about having this choice of wrestling, because you can watch just WWE, you can watch just AEW, you can watch just Ring of Honor, but you don't need to bring other people down. I mean, I have friends who only watch WWE. That's good. I'm glad they're enjoying, what they want to enjoy. I'm not going to sit there and down their product, but they don't down AEW to me. They tell me that they catch it here and there, and we have friendly conversations, but even just watching something like this has been amazing. Watching Double or Nothing, it was just fun. It's something I look forward to. And Honor the Elite, we would absolutely do a collaboration with you. I think that would be fantastic. I absolutely love, again, the wrestling community. I mean, we wouldn't have a platform without wrestling, so we wouldn't have the ability to express our love for it. So I absolutely love working with people or just exploring and watching. And that's why I liked watching Double or Nothing, because it was like watching a pay-per-view Sunday, that game day, that Super Bowl. I know I probably stumbled on my words and said it twice there. But
well, Double or Nothing is AEW's big show. It's their start, aside from All In, which wasn't AEW. So when you really put it together, Double or Nothing was their big welcome to AEW.
And then
let me show you who I am. And that first battle royale, like that hooked us instantly. You see a dinosaur taking people out, it was over. I was in love.
And then you have, All Out, which is their like WrestleMania, so they have all that amazing chemistry. And that, to kind of circle back, that's why I was disappointed in the fans, because, even like Steve said, there's Impact Wrestling, which has raucous fans. I think it kills the product when you have fans who just, what's the word I'm looking for? Not lackluster, but when they're not appreciating what's in front of them. Because I think when you're appreciating what's in front of you and showing that respect, I think it's the product shows it in the ring. So I think that's what kind of slowed the beginning of this pay-per-view a little bit for me. It was just, and there was
I just watched a smaller crowd on DPW Spark. That small crowd we were in was way louder, and it wasn't just because I was screaming my face off.
And On Elite says, I'll never fully understand why it has to be one-sided affairs. Sure, AW is my vocal point, but the hate I get just because I'm speaking volumes for one company, that's why my page caters to, obviously. But damn, agreed. I feel like when you talk about AEW, even us talking about Double or Nothing, there's a lot of troll comments. There's a lot of people who just, it's like a weird superiority complex that they feel that no way your stuff's better than my stuff. We're not trying to say we're better than you. We're not MJFs of the world. We're not. And that's even a reputation that some AEW WWE fans, they get in discourse, but it's like the wrestling of the early 1990s when you had the Monday Night Wars in 96, 97, channel flipping, talking to my friends about WCW versus AEW. I mean, WCW versus WWF. So Anelito says, to be honest, it feels if you don't root for only WWE, it screams for trade wrestling fans. I agree. I remember we talked about, this next match on Double or Nothing, which I was really excited for, which was the Hardys and Ethan Page in the Guns, because we really like the Guns. I think it's cool that you have the Guns going against the Hardy Boys, because you basically have, and you have Hook, so you have Taz's child going against Billy Gunn's child. So as a wrestling fan, that popped me that I have basically two generational talents in the ring with the Hardy Boys, the veteran presence, who's wrestled with their dad and wrestled with Billy Gunn. So it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and we also want to hear like what your guys' opinions are of these. That's kind of why we went live. We definitely want more. And with the Guns, if you aren't aware, we were on the Jericho Cruise this year, and the Guns really hit home for us. They made the Jericho Cruise so special for our son, and it was just great. Everything about it was so fun, and if it wasn't for them, I don't think the cruise would have been as memorable for him this year.
And from the cruise, cruise 3 to cruise 4, they evolved. They went from, Jolly Jobbers, the Ass Boys, to we're not the Ass Boys. And I remember seeing how over they were with the crowd on the second cruise, and how they were selling, how they're interacting. I think the cruise really gives the rub to people sometimes. Even if it's a hardcore fan base, it definitely gives people that niche. And I think that's why I really enjoyed that pre-show. And Jeff Hardy's fall was intentional. So I think it's funny people still say he's botching it. But even Matt Hardy talked about real life, and Matt Hardy, what's the name of the podcast? You know better. The Matt Hardy, Extreme Life Matt Hardy. He mentioned that was intentional. And then we have On the Elite saying, I remember being in middle school, showing off my NWO black and white shirt. My friend Dan have an awesome shirt. All was cool. Why can't we be like that again? I agree. I think wrestling online has turned into an echo chamber. You have some people with really bad takes or terrible opinions. And unfortunately, the loudest people are usually the dumbest or have the worst takes. The quietest people are the ones who they don't get involved with the riffraff. They don't get involved with the needless debates. MJF had the quote of the night at the press conference when he was just like, criticizing wrestling the way so many people do is like leaving a Yelp review when you go out to eat. Why aren't you just enjoying it? You have so much other stuff in life to worry about. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what he said.
Hey, I'm just thankful I can wear my CM Punk shirts again.
And Gary Joe says he's going to the cruise next year. It'd be great to see you guys. Absolutely, Gary. We'll hook up on the cruise. This will be our, if you can tell behind us, we have 3 posters, our 4th cruise. So we'd be happy to help or connect you with some other people who'd help. That's why I think we love AEW a little bit more, and we love Double or Nothing, because we fall in love with these people on the cruise. I mean, for those who are watching behind me, I have so much cruise merchandise, from the belt above my head to the 3 posters to the foam fingers to the flag. That's why we're called Cruising with Kayfabe. This is our wrestling fandom, and
and our family. We've met friends and family now.
Jamal, Taryn, Dez, Rachel, Jeff. I mean, we can keep listing so many people. It's amazing. It's a community, and that's why it's great about wrestling. And I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're so right, because we have all these people. Like, I had the nicest thing ever. Yesterday, I got a phone call from one of our cruisers who's a singer on the indies, and she called me just to sing me happy birthday, and it was the nicest, sweetest thing ever. So thank you again, Nani.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nani. Shout out to Top Rope Plushies. She makes an awesome product. Check them out on Facebook. We did a whole episode with her, so check out the archive, our interview with her passion about it. Honor the Elite also says AEW talent that he has met, 73. That's impressive.
That might be more than us.
Definitely more than us. Are all freaking amazing. I love this company like crazy. Bebe. Boom. And that's what's great about, the cruise. I mean, just looking at this card that we're talking about, the Hardys haven't been on the cruise yet, but Isaiah Cassidy is a 2-time cruiser. The Guns are 2-time cruisers. I want Ethan Page on the cruise. Or the next match is the Orange Cassidy Battle Royal, and when he last eliminated Swerve Strickland. They were both cruisers, and I absolutely love the vibe they gave off on the cruise. And I think that's why we enjoyed the Battle Royal, because we'd be like, hey, there's so-and-so. You see Kip Sabian, he is a fellow cruiser. You see Penelope Ford, fellow cruiser. And then you see in the crowd, Emily says every year, because I check it out in Time Hop, my favorite part of AEW reviews is looking for all my friends in the crowd.
I seriously do. I scan it for everybody. I see you, Amy. I see you, Jamal. I mean, everybody's there at some point. If they went to the show, you can typically see them, and it's so cool.
So we have our first question for Emily here. I got to ask your wife, man, who's her favorite in AEW and favorite match to date for the company as well? So before we get to the Battle Royal, I think that's a good question that was posed to you.
Favorite match to date is still Jericho and Orange Cassidy, the Mayhem Mimosa Mayhem. That I can't wait for a play set for that. Like, that has to happen. Jeremy, please listen. Please do this. I think that was the funnest feud all completely. And I have too many favorites. I can say right now I'm really excited to see where Saraya and the Outcasts are going to go, along with Chris Statlander and Toni Storm. Like, there's just everything everywhere. You've got intergender now happening again. I mean, there's too much to be excited about.
And I agree that he said interesting choice. AEW did one of the pandemic. I honestly think that's where our fandom thrived, because we went on the 2020 cruise, not to repeat the whole story, and then we didn't get a cruise for 18 months, and we had to, go through the pandemic like everyone else. And the one thing that helped us get away from that stress, the one thing that helped us get away from that real world was wrestling. And AEW to us just had such a good vibe. It had such a good presentation. They didn't have a crowd, but they had the Guns, speaking of them again, out in the crowd making noise. They had wrestlers.
And that was the Guns idea. I want to go back on that, because I've said it on the podcast before, but that was the Guns idea. They all 3 came up with the idea that they needed noisemakers because they weren't loud enough themselves. So they went out back, they found stuff to make into bottles and just shake them for noisemakers. And that's a world of a thing. Like, who would really do that? Like, WWE barely did that. And I'm so grateful.
And they started doing the hockey vibe, people banging on the glass. They figured it out.
Like, they all made their own with this pandemic. I mean, the TVs was pretty awesome. You could go in a weight room and get on a TV for WWE. We tried that a few times. Someone did ask on TikTok something I want to point out. I did not see the Solo turning on Reigns tonight, because we've been doing this in our podcast room. I haven't noticed
we will have to
SmackDown, but ooh.
And I want to say thank you so much to Gary Joe for sharing our live stream on your TikTok and sharing on the page. Well, appreciate it. We definitely enjoy this community, like we keep saying, and I think that's why I enjoyed this Battle Royal. A lot of people kind of questioned the 21-man Battle Royal.
I loved it,
but it was so fun. And best ending with Orange Cassidy doing the lazy move to get rid of Swerve Strickland, setting up their match coming up next week.
And not to mention that they put the entrances on the buy-in. That was perfect because you got to see who was going into the ring, and we didn't lose out on missing entrances. That's one of my favorite things, is seeing everybody's gear, because again, it's their WrestleMania style. They've all got new stuff to show off.
No, and it's absolutely true, because they, you got to showcase, you got to have fun, you got to see the match, and it was a typical battle royal. You had the fake outs of him getting eliminated. You had Trent sacrificing himself in that beautiful moment. You had the best friends hug. You had all this different camaraderie, mini feud. You had Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. You had Ricky Starks and Juice. It was fantastic, and the crowd was into it. So I know the crowd could do it. It's just, I think it really, after the battle royal, I think the energy kind of went out like a deflated balloon. Then next up we have, because we can kind of get through the card real quick, we have Adam Cole defeating Chris Jericho. I was really excited for this match, but the crowd,
killed this.
The crowd took the vibe away. It was fun, but I think there was a lot of gimmicks on the pay-per-view. So I'm not saying, again, and I'm not saying it in a bad way, but I think it was, we knew we had Anarchy coming up. So like, what can they really do that you don't want to take away from them? Match placement. So I will say it, their 4-way match, the intergender match they had on Dynamite, was good, and it kind of made up for it. I don't think it was a bad match like people say. I know it kind of had a wonky finish, but I enjoyed it. I love Adam Cole, and Chris Jericho put him over twice. I just want to point that out. Mr. Selfish, everyone calls him on the internet, put over Adam Cole twice. Gary Joe says, unfortunately, the ending felt blah to me, but I think that's because of the crowd. I think so too. We were both just like, oh, because we didn't know that was the ending.
I was like, wait, did something go wrong?
You couldn't see the false finish. You didn't know what was going on. And then I will say, I think one of the issues is this. It's an unsanctioned match, but the referee stoppage, it was a little strange, but I think maybe the crowd, they just knew they kind of had to not sever it, but go home, so to speak. I still liked it. I'm just happy that Jericho is working with Adam Cole, because I really want to see Adam Cole go against MJF at some point. I really want to see Adam Cole get back to where he was in NXT Black and Gold, because I absolutely enjoy him. I enjoyed that Kyle O'Reilly is on the men coming back, and that we had Roderick Strong show up. So, I mean, we can essentially have a version of the Undisputed Elite. And if Bobby Fish would
get his head out of his ass
and stop insulting the Young Bucks on Instagram, maybe he could come back and we can get that reunion. But I will say, though, the next match I was looking forward to, I think really perked up the crowd and really picked up, is FTR versus Double J and Jay Lethal. So Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, or as Dax Howard called them, the TNA Rejects. I thought for a short feud, it was a great feud. It was a typical Jeff Jarrett match, lots of shenanigans. FTR did solid. Aubrey taking that guitar shot, like, can we just talk about that? I mean, I know that refs don't usually take bumps in AEW. Like, I can count on one hand how many times they've probably knocked down a referee, and then Aubrey just taking a guitar shot from Karen Angle, like, that was entertaining to me.
This year, I know she's been doing a lot more spots and a lot more action in the ring with them, and I think that's really smart. I am a huge fan of Aubrey's because I am a part of Heels, and she's a big, big part of the women's community of wrestling. So if you aren't a part of Heels, definitely try and check that out. DM us. I'll fill you in on information. But Aubrey does a lot for people that don't know this. She does a lot for AEW in general.
Heels in general, to give a shout, you're being modest, is one of the best communities they've ever developed for not only women, but those who identify as women, especially, in given circumstances and times we live in. It's nice to have a community that can be built on talking about wrestling, and people not being judged for who they are, but just talking about wrestling and having an area where you can learn about mental health awareness. You can learn about camaraderie. You can learn about community action. You can learn about Culture City. You can learn about all kinds of things. Then you have fun on game night and you let loose, or you have dance parties or Valentine's days and bring your significant other. What they've done with Heels, from Brandy to Aubrey to Leva to Amanda to Dasha, everyone there has built such an amazing community. And I love that you look forward to your meetings. And for those who are listening on our socials of the podcast, check out what they do. Check out who they are. Again, DM us. Emily will tell you all about heels. She's been a member since inception, and I had to make her renew because she almost forgot to renew, but we didn't want her to miss any meetings. So it's something she loves doing. And
they gave a tote bag away for the first like 20 people. I have the tote bag. Like the second I heard that there was a female wrestling community, I jumped on that. And it was when Brandy was first starting it up. And I wouldn't be surprised if WWE ever does take her on, if she does something backstage with this. She had a really good idea roll out. It's just that when she left, she kind of put them in a rough spot. And Aubrey and Amanda really took this over with Leva, and they molded what we have now, which is an even better community geared towards what the women ask for. We get little bits of Leva cooking, and just Leva's Leva. Like there's no other way to describe her. Like the toilet paper is loud. Okay. The toilet paper is loud.
It's funny to see the inside jokes.
Like you get so much more through heels, and you get to see, you know, the kids coming in. And I know Cam, he joins all the time with me. He likes seeing everybody on screen because you get to see all like hundreds of people that are joining you.
I remember seeing
Abbott I hate being on like a rant, but sorry.
I remember seeing Abbott on the screen once, the last little point. I walked by and she was looking at the camera the entire time, contorting her face. I just remember walking by in the kitchen like, all right then. Alrighty then. But no, it's great. And, you know, I think it definitely, again, it's something that helps heighten our enjoyment of the product. And speaking of next one, a match that low key, a lot of people don't talk about, but was fantastic, was Wardlow versus Christian Cage. I really enjoyed that match. Our friend Jeff on our last episode, the prediction episode, called it. He had a TLC homage when he did the Swanton Bomb off the ladder. And then I like that he thinks he's so tiny he can jump on a ladder and not break it, because that was my favorite part when he jumped and the ladder broke because he's so beefy.
Yeah, and also I didn't know until I saw the gear maker afterwards post on Instagram that gear was actually Hardy inspired, and I should have known. But I thought it was really cool that they really, really brought it home with that match.
No, they did. I think it started to pick the energy up a little bit more in the crowd and waking them up, you know, but I really enjoyed the finish. I'm glad that Christian kind of took the bumps he did, and Wardlow got to keep his title. Arn Anderson being gross and biting Luchasaurus's finger. Like, man, Arn Anderson went from, you know, he's just double A, the four horsemen. He's gonna put, you know, spine on the pine. It's always hard to say. So articulated there. But he was just there with a mouthful of blood and Luchasaurus going through the table, and I just love it, from him threatening Cody with a Glock, you know, to him biting fingers, and just I love who he's evolved. He's like the pissed off grandpa.
Oh my god, you're so right.
So
if you haven't seen the memes that Mongo's been putting up on our Facebook, please go look at them because these memes are rough. We also had Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter.
Now, I will give all the credit in the world to Jamie Hayter. She went out there clearly injured because, I don't know, again, try to stay off a lot of the dirty sheets because they always have an opinion or agenda.
They're staying.
But, I mean, essentially, it has been known for a while that she's been injured. She went out there. She tried to tough it out. Toni Storm picks up the W. It was a short match, but she went out there to drop the title the right way. And I think it helps give Toni another legitimate run, because she had her run, but it was made afterwards legitimized. Now she can have a run, and she joins an exclusive club where she's one of the only two-time women's champions. Like, how many two-time women's champions are there right now?
I believe just one.
So
well, now two.
You have her as a two-time champion. So she joins a pretty exclusive club of Jon Moxley, CM Punk, you have Toni Storm, you have Sammy Guevara, you have Darby Allin. There's not a multi champions.
Cody,
FTR, Young Bucks. So it's nice that she gets put up there, and this is going to help the Outcast, because now they have to go through the Outcast, but they want to go through the World Champion. That sets up a lot of good storylines. I enjoyed the match. I also like that she said she's going to slap off Mercedes
tits.
Yeah, I was going to say something nicer than that. I was going to say gazongas, but that works.
She said tits. I'll say tits.
Next up, then we have another sleeper match that was fantastic. House of Black issuing an open challenge to the Acclaimed. Absolutely loved the Acclaimed when they came out and basically said that Buddy was being a cuck to another Dom. So I just thought that was great. The little shot they threw there. The lighting of those matches are always fun.
I think it's interesting. I hope you can still see everything when you're there, but they have so many spotlights in the ring. I don't see how you couldn't. We were talking earlier and we both agreed, like, as far as the trios go right now, hands down, House of Black is crushing this. Julia Hart comes out looking all spooky.
Her music.
Everything she's doing right now.
The presentation with House of Black is probably some of the best work AEW's done. So I don't know what they've been tweaking and changing, but these small changes I like, because they're not just ripping a Band-Aid off and doing complete changes. I think they're really listening to the vibe of the crowd, because if you look at Twitter and you look at stuff, people are going to complain. But another quote from MJF, he said it's like 5% of the audience. It's right. It's a small percentage of the community, but I think they listen to the pulse of the crowd, because you can tell like House of Black kind of went from, they could be something, to good luck getting the titles off those boys.
Yeah, I can't see anyone really taking the titles off House of Black right now.
I
want them to just ride this out.
I want them to dominate, and then that, because whoever wins it, it's going to make these trio titles keep meaning something, and that's what you need to do. Like, I know we already talked about Orange Cassidy, but look at the international title. It's probably one of the best title reigns AEW has ever had.
I am
23 straight wins.
I could really see Swerve taking this, though.
I'm scared. I could see it, but I could, scared. I don't want to. I want this run to continue. I love me some Orange Cassidy.
And he has a new record coming out soon, so it would really help promote him. So from a business standpoint, I could definitely see him taking this title. But also, I could see someone from New Japan coming in and sweeping it up.
Maybe. Next up, we have Jade Cargill with Smart Mark Sterling and Layla Gray taking on Taya Valkyrie for victory number 16-0, and Jade will be your reigning champion going into this week. It's going to be
out of this world.
Wait, so you're telling me that Mama's home?
Mama is home. I am thrilled, over the moon. I can still talk about Chris Statlander because I said I would shut up, and I don't have to shut up because she put up.
I know you did say that you're putting all your money on this hill that Chris Statlander's coming back, and holy crap, she came back. I wasn't expecting it. She came back. We thought she was going to come out for a confrontation. But
no, it was
Jade
a
Cargill's cockiness
match.
got her. Her cockiness finally got her. She kept
beautiful.
She kept going all these tears, saying she's the best. No one can touch her. She's beaten everyone. She had done these open challenges right after before. She went out there and she's like, you know what? No one else. I can do it again. I don't care that I just wrestle someone else.
She forgot.
And then she forgot about Chris Statlander, and Chris Statlander caught her. And you know what? People who are hating on Chris Statlander don't understand. This is a beautiful storytelling. She got 16-0 and immediately got it snatched away. That's amazing, because now when they run that match back, it's going to mean something. And I'm excited to see. And Chris deserves it, because, again, another cruiser, another someone that we absolutely fell in love with at Limitless, one of the hardest workers in the room, freakishly athletic, and her stunt woman background even makes her more incredible in the ring. That 450 she pulled off, fantastic.
Fantastic. Her robot legs are there to work it. I'm excited to see where else this run is going to take her. Is it going to be long? Is it going to be like meh? I hope it is a decent run. I'm not saying she needs to hold it for 60 matches, but I'd really like to see her hold it for at least 10. I'd like to see her really get this defended and continue this, because she does need to kind of work on matches, because she was out for 9 months, and before that she was out as well. So she does just need to build up her wins, but that's fine. She's the champion. She can do that.
No, I agree. And I think that's one thing I enjoy about AEW. So you don't know when the title changes are going to happen. They're either quick. Sometimes they can hot shot titles, but it seems like when they hit that right title reign, look at the Acclaimed had a great tag team title reign. FTR building to a title reign. MJF, yeah, he's not wrestling up, but he's been having a decent title reign. That leads us into our next match. My match of the night. Probably one of my favorite matches of the year so far. I'm sorry, but Kenny Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom is still my number one. But this match, holy hell, did this Four Pillars match deliver?
They really put it out there. Just phenomenal. There's no other word for this match.
And I loved all the storytelling. Everyone using their mentors' moves and finishers and signatures, to Sammy announcing that he's, expecting with Tay, she came out with, the cards, to Darby being beaten with another friggin' headlock takeover that MJF's going to use for nuclear heat, to MJF coming out like the devil on a throne, almost like someone else coming on a throne. Like everything about it was big fight feel, and I absolutely enjoyed it. And I know some of the criticism it gets online is that it didn't end the show, but I don't remember a time where Double or Nothing closed the title match. It's always been some sort of Stadium Stampede 1 and 2, or the Anarchies in the arenas. I think Moxley and Brody might have closed the show. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think in 2020, but it might have been Stadium Stampede. I think it might have been Stadium Stampede. So sorry, no, 2019 was the number one contender with Jericho and Kenny. Yep. So I don't think it has closed the show because they didn't really have the title.
I don't know. I guess we gotta watch them again.
2020 was Stadium Stampede. 2021 was Stadium Stampede 2 because Sammy, remember, he was in the main event.
That's right.
Because that was the first time a crowd was back. 2022 was Anarchy in the Arena, and 2023. So yeah, it's never main evented. So,
and like MJF was saying, why would he want to wrestle after that match?
I like this facial expression.
No.
By the way, his pickles are now shipping. If you ordered his pickles,
take another sip on that one.
Hey, it's a pretty big deal.
So
don't be sour.
As far as the Pillars match also goes, is that you saw a side of Darby that you haven't seen in a while. And also MJF brought up that contract with Sammy, and he was like, but that contract, Sammy, now you need that money more than ever. I thought that was very clever.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how they finished the match, how they had MJF go over Darby with a headlock takeover after the shenanigans. MJF retains because there's no disqualification in a four-way match, and it just ended up being a great show. And honestly, could have ended there, but it ended up ending with the Anarchy in the Arena, which we thought they would, with a guitarist that had some quite interesting attire, shall we say, from the Violent Idols. I don't
want to talk about it because it was bad.
Yeah,
it was
I'm not going to describe it. It was interesting outfit choice.
Tasteless.
And can I also say that we don't need the music playing the entire time? I know it's a shtick, but if you're going to sing Wild Thing over and over, can you at least sing the whole song instead of the same line over and over and over?
Maybe that's all they remembered.
True. I do like when the Bucks super kicked him, though. That was pretty cool.
That was one of the best parts of that match, aside from
from the exploding super kick, or just the all-out carnage and whatever else word you want to use.
Plus, not to mention the win.
Yeah, it was Wheeler Yuta pinning Kenny after Don Callis, a.k.a. Don Coward, came out with Takeshita. It was just utter chaos. He looked like a foot soldier. Also want to give a shout out hi to Crander Q, aka Friends of the Squared Circle on Facebook and TikTok. He's watching along as well. We did an interview with him on YouTube, Friends of the Squared Circle. Check it out. He does a lot of great interviews. I really enjoyed Double or Nothing. I really enjoyed the card as a whole. I mean, if I had to rate it, I'd give it like 6.5, 7 out of 10, only because the crowd just kind of sucks some of the energy out of it. But other than that, it was a solid show.
Yeah, the show itself was definitely a 9. I think that when we look back at press conferences, I never used to care about a press conference up until the brawl out happened. And I forced Mongo to stay up because I was like, no, I need to see this press conference. I wasn't ready for the press conference. It was not comical, but it was a scrum. So you have like Toni Storm just being like, meh, which I liked. I liked her little like vibe. And then MJF was just being MJF as always.
Orange Cassidy dropping the title, not caring. Not dropping totally the title, losing, but breaking the podium.
The whole like holder for it.
Thankfully, they have them on Amazon for like $14.99 because I looked them up because I was wondering how to display ours. So I happened to see them without trying. Yeah, I would definitely say you rate it higher than me, but I think it's just because to me, the crowd makes the show. You know, not to go on a diatribe, but I remember we talked about some of the pandemic shows. It was hard to watch, so it's even hard to go back because without the crowd, it's just something's missing. Wrestling is live theater, and without that instant reaction or the oohs and the ahs, it's just something doesn't feel right without it. And I think that's why I was a little disappointed in the crowd. And again, I'm not poo-pooing on anyone in Vegas because I've been to Vegas. It's freaking hot this time of year in Las Vegas.
And
and
exhausting.
exhausting. So they could have been, or the crowd could have been mic'd up. So again, I'm not trying to make excuses. But I'm not also not trying to poo-poo in a crowd that I wasn't in. I just feel as if you're at home, maybe they should mic it up a little bit. I'm not saying pipe in noise or anything like the NFL sometimes does. When you watch, you can clearly tell when you're watching a Super Bowl and the crowd's not moving, there's cheers going. You're like, wait a second.
Yes. Is that really happening?
But yeah, I think it's funny you brought up Brawl out. So to kind of segue into our next topic, CM Punk's returning to AEW officially. I mean, kind of a weird announcement by Tony Khan. Not really sure the strategy. I was hoping they kind of kept it secret, but
I thought they were going to keep it a secret, sell it on a rumor again.
I mean, it was almost there. I think they had like maybe 1,000 tickets left,
which is not that much considering how many people are going to end up buying tickets.
So I'm wondering if they're trying to make a push to maybe get a bigger one when it's at. I don't know. I don't look into WrestleNomics, all that stuff, because if I'm going to look at data like that, I'm going to get paid for it. I mean, I got my MBA. That shit ain't free.
Well, you also have to remember that with CM Punk coming back, there's so many ways that these stories could go. And we touched on that with the last episode we did with Jeff, is that there's like, you can take this story.
And AJ too.
Yeah, you can take this one story right here and branch it off 3 different ways and then run with whichever one works best at that time frame and come back and go back to this one. And then when this one is over, go back over to this one. Like, we were just talking about how much we would love for Marco to eventually come back and be part of a trios if you can get the 3 back together again. Because the whole feel-good moments with Luchasaurus and Marco with Jungle Boy being able to work off of each other in the tandem wrestling style, I miss seeing that. We were talking about people that we enjoyed that came up from the cruise, and we truly do miss seeing that Marco vibe. And if you're a fan of Marcos, then you get it.
No, I agree. I am really excited to see where his feuds go. And I said it on the podcast with AJ on the Summer of Punk, episode 38. Go check it out in the archives. Also, coming soon, check out cwkpod.com, where you can find all the archives, where you can find ad-free shows, exclusive content, and more. So it's pretty cool. Our Patreon's going to cwkpod.com, so coming soon. And we talk about CM Punk, and we talk about, so, we're not going to go into all these theories or anything now, but it's official now. We speculated, we pondered. I know it's divisive. I mean, I saw a comment today on Reddit where people were ripping each other back and forth. Our own socials, people are going back and forth on it. And hey, look, I get it. It's divisive. It's going to be people who don't like him, people who don't want to see him, people who do want to see him. I'm just that you can only give people so many chances. I get it. But I don't know the whole story. I'll never know the whole story.
We were harsh critics at first.
I'm not picking sides because that's childish to me. I get it. But again, we don't know in the long run what happened. We don't know what they talked about behind the scenes. My tinfoil hat theory, if you haven't listened to that episode, I think it's still somewhat of a work. But I'm kind of excited for Saturday Night Wrestling again, because I know a lot of people didn't like WCW Thunder, but I was a WCW Thunder guy. Back on Saturday, you had Nitro, then you had Saturday Thunder. Thunder basically forced WWE to make SmackDown. So, I mean, it's not unheard of to have a second show, and 4 hours of primetime wrestling is not a bad thing for AEW with it, because now their roster can be expanded in the correct way, and you can have some of these matches that maybe we couldn't see before.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good, because when you think about a normal injury, people are out for about 10 months, and when they come back, it's a big comeback. They're ready to go. They've been training it up the last couple months.
He's jacked, so he's been clearly working. So maybe
he's been doing this. Like, he's been putting the work in. And not to mention, he was still going on podcasts, kind of talking and saying things that would spark a fire still. He was going on ESPN. Didn't he do like
he's done commentating
and stuff?
Yeah, some MMA. I mean, AJ says he wants to come back to this fire burn, so that Kill Switch Engage. So you never know, but I think you got to turn him heel here, though. I think to kind of end on the CM Punk topic, you got to turn him heel. I don't know how he can be a full face, because he's going to get that 50-50 split either way. It's going to be go away heat, because there are some fans who don't want to see him. And it's going to be genuine. He's a heel. He sucks heat. But I think at the end of the day, once wrestling happens, I think if he can prove himself, he needs to end his career on a better note. He needs to have his legacy end on a better note than how it would have. So
he knows. I think he really saw what he did that night. Even if it wasn't a work, I think that, and I think it tainted his legacy. That's all.
He doesn't care. He doesn't think like that. Let's be honest. I mean,
yeah, that ego is bigger than Cody's.
Oh, I mean, if you look at not even that, but if you look at when he went on Colt Cabana's podcast, the start of all that issues, it's AJ still has the best quote. You know, he might be an asshole, but he's his asshole. And again, he's a self-admitted a-hole. He's a self-admitted jerk. He doesn't care what other people think and whatever. He's curmudgeon. To me, he's Mr. Curmudgeon. You know, he reminds me of the guy from Ray Romano's show, Brad.
And if you don't have that big ego, yeah, if you don't have that big ego, if you don't think that you're the best, then you shouldn't be in the business. And they've all said that themselves. I'm not shooting on Cody for having, you know, the big ego. I'm just saying, as far as wrestling goes,
let's be realistic.
He's the biggest one.
Let's be realistic. He definitely has, and it's not a shot at Cody. Who's had a lot of these action figures and games and merchandises and the bus with his tattoo on it. It's okay to he's brand aware. Look at Matt Cardona, and we talk about him not going around, but I mean, he's the indie god. He has the merch. Wrestling, you're a business. You are your business. If you're not promoting yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice. You know, that's why we welcome anyone who works in the business, any capacity. Feel free to come on. We'll talk with you, let you tell your story, because you have to promote yourself, because no one else is going to for you. No one else is going to push your product. So if you're a wrestler, no one else is going to sell your shirts. No one else is going to sell your gimmicks. You got to go out there. John Cena used to say 3 words that drove everybody nuts, but it's the truest thing he ever said: hustle, loyalty, and respect. You need to hustle. You need to make that money. You need to have loyalty to where you're working or what you're doing. And you have to have respect for people. You don't have to respect fans. You don't have to respect, you have to respect the people you're in the ring with. You have to respect the people you work for and with. Because at the end of the day, if you're kind of pushed out of that locker room, you know, good luck getting a job, because word travels.
Exactly. I mean, look at Bobby Fish.
I don't even say Bobby Fish, but even just look at, you know, some of the Me Too stuff, even, you know,
Joey Ryan.
Look at all the different disgrace wrestlers out there, even people who probably shouldn't be working that might be still working. So you can't really be a crap person in an industry where social media is so prevalent. And, you know, which kind of brings me to the next point with social media. Can we not DM wrestlers or leak private stuff from wrestlers? I don't understand people who feel the need to go out there. And I'm not trying to be holding now, but I know a mutual friend who got some really creepy DMs just because she commented on a wrestling post, and like, she's married. And I don't understand, like, just because someone's talking to you on a comment thread doesn't mean like, hey, DM them. Or if just because someone's in the public eye, like a Billy Starks or Ty Mello or someone, doesn't mean you need to send them DMs and try to like fulfill some weird
or steal their content. I think it's really messed up. Like, you can just share someone's stuff. You don't have to make a fake profile on Facebook and share every video they have on TikTok on there.
Like MJF? Like the fake MJF page on Facebook?
Yeah, there's also a fake Rebby Hardy going around right now, and the profile picture is Gothic Baby. That's a baby.
And it happens. We had someone steal our content for TikTok, a video I had created, and it's great because I'm like, yeah, cool. I have the timestamps, but I'm not trying to get holy in that. I'm not that kind of person, but that's why I think I like our community. So people who listen to this and go on our socials, just know that if you're going to start being weird, I don't mind deleting comments. I don't need your follow that bad if you're not going to be a good human being. We don't need your follow, because the thing is, we only want to build a community of people who want to interact with us and people who, I'll say it, who are positive and who can have a civil discussion. I have no problem if someone says, I disagree with you on this. This is why. Or I think this. I have no problem. I've had plenty of discussions with people in the comment threads where we disagree on topics. The problem is you got to be civil with it, because the second you start insulting or name calling,
it's called a discussion.
Yes. And the thing is, we're all adults. We can have different opinions. And there's plenty of people I know listening to this who are going to listen to some of my opinions like, wow, whatever, he's wrong.
And one of our friends does ground us a lot. When we say things, he'll be like, hey, just remember, it's just a dirt sheet. You know, and we really appreciate him stepping up sometimes and being like, hey, guys, like, exactly. Just remember.
Our friend Justin, he can have a civil discussion. You know, we have some differences on certain ways things go in wrestling. But at the end of the day, he's still my friend. I'm not going to sit there and down him. He's not going to down me. And it's just, it's funny. Like on Elite on earlier, reading some of his comment threads, it's nice to go in there. That's how I found his page, because of the people in there. We're having a normal discussion. I was talking about Ricky Starks, and other people were talking. Some people were like, I'm not really a fan of him, but they weren't downing me for liking him or downing him. You can be not a fan. There's plenty of wrestlers where I'm like, I'm not a fan. Pac, I'm not really a fan, but I'm not going to down people who like Pac and want him to succeed.
He's a
I'm
great
not down
athlete.
him.
He's just a terrible human. That's fine. If you like that, that's fine.
I mean, allegedly, we don't know, but to us he was. But yeah, it's interesting. But speaking of interesting, in our last topic, something I'm super excited for, and I feel like I've gotten Emily on the next level. Fight Forever.
Yes,
Comes out on my
cannot
birthday.
wait. And you have to remember, AEW is full of Twitchers. Can you imagine the Twitch
Twitchers?
streamers?
Is that what we call them?
I don't know, the Twitch streamers
like
that are going to come out.
People, Twitchers are people who got like skin crawling, like, oh, ouch, ouch.
No, not meth heads.
Oh, I wasn't saying that. I meant like, I don't know. Anyway, so they got the streamers.
Yeah, so AEW is full of streamers. I can't wait to see the content that comes out on these games.
I'm just excited because the videos I've watched and the different weapons they have. I mean, propane tanks, a little bit of bubbly, brooms with barbed wire, regular barbed wire, tables, skateboards, ladders, chairs. Oh my, like there's just so much.
And we noticed that when they come out from the entrance that you can see, you hit the pyro, you can control the pyro as
manipulate the angles.
I thought it was going to be like you create the setup and then they do their entrance, not like you do it while they're entering, because you can do more smoke than fire.
You didn't really grow up in the area of arcade. You kind of grew up in the area of simulation games. So this is great because I grew up with the Raw, there's Warzone and the No Mercies and the WrestleMania 18s and the original SmackDown vs. Raws, where it is arcade. That's what this vibe is. And it's going to be hella fun. I mean, yeah, people can clown on the graphics all they want. Okay. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has, some of the worst graphics for a next-gen game, but it's one of the best games of the year. You can't judge a game until you play it. And I'm looking forward to it because it looks stupid fun. And it's a pick-up-and-go game. It doesn't have to be a relay simulation. So, our 9-year-old doesn't have to sit there and try to learn all these intricate combos right away. He can just button mash. Emily's a button masher. She told me, she's like, I'll whip your ass in Street Fighter because I know she'll just sit there and mash the buttons.
I used to kill it in Mortal Kombat.
Oh, I believe it. Because I'd be the person who memorized all the combos. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do a low kick with a sweep and a fight. How did you win? I just hit all the buttons.
It works every time, guys.
I mean, yeah. And that's why I think it's going to be great about this. And I'm excited for it to come out. And I originally got the regular edition because it comes out at the end of the month. And then I found out if you get the Elite edition, it comes out a day earlier, which happens to be my birthday. So I was like, hell yeah, pre-order. And it comes out on my birthday. And
you get like Matt Hardy.
Well, yeah. You get Matt Hardy and a broken Matt Hardy, and you get Hookhausen, and you get FTR and some mini games. So, and it's only $71 on Xbox right now and PSN. And a normal new game's like $69 to $70 when it comes out. So for $2 more, you're getting a season pass, Matt Hardy, all this stuff. I can't wait. I've been watching videos since they first announced this a few years ago when we called it Wait Forever.
Yeah, but
I think it's gonna be worth the wait. Ukes, who developed this game, is essentially the genius behind No Mercy and WrestleMania 18 and WrestleMania 2000. So I think they're not going to let us down. I think it's going to be fun. The story looks great. I mean, check out, again, TikTok at It's Mongo. I put up some good videos from IGN. Shout out to the guys at IGN. Did a great walkthrough. Evil Uno and Orange Cassidy have been playing. Nyla Rose has been playing. A bunch of streamers have been playing. So the content's out there for you to watch. And I can't wait because in about 3 weeks, we're going to have that in our hands. And I can't wait to see, like you said, all the Twitch streamers, or the Twitchers, as you call them. I can't wait to see them posting the content. Hopefully our friend Frank at Get Barded, maybe he'll stream that. Maybe he'll find a way to stream because, hey, you want to stream some new content.
Maybe we need to bring it back to middle school. We'll get a TV on wheels and we'll wheel it in behind us so we can play.
Oh, can I watch Bill Nye?
Yeah.
Bill Nye, the science guy.
I'd be down.
Bill. Science rules. Oh, don't act like you didn't know that song.
On that note, did you know?
Get a book. You take a look.
We're 90s babies. It's all in there.
Yeah. You ever just have those core memories unlocked? Sometimes you just hear a jingle. You're like, like, I'm going to say something that's going to take you back to the 90s. Oh, it's hot in here. You need to fix the AC. I'll call tomorrow. You'll call now. I'll call now. Remember that they fixed the AC commercial? You don't remember that commercial?
No.
Someone
I
help me
thought
out.
you were going to pull the Water Country commercial out.
No, that's when the sun is blazing and you need a cool spot. Water Country is a very cool spot. There's no other place to feel a million.
I don't think that's how that goes.
It's like part of it. Whatever. It's paraphrased.
It's okay. If you're not from New Hampshire, you won't even know.
Oh, yeah. If you're from New Hampshire, you probably don't even really go because no one in New England really likes Water Country. We just went there because it was cheap. But now
the
it's not even
wave
cheap.
pool that people like try to kill you in. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, there's a documentary on HBO Max about a pretty deadly theme park. I feel like Water Country was about 3 accidents away from probably having their own documentary, allegedly. So, I mean, I don't think it really happened, but every teenager in New England pretty much
Class action.
Probably. Oh, yeah, Class Action Park. That's what it was. Good job. But yeah, no, I'm really excited for the future. I mean, and before we wrap up, I'm really excited for the future because we also have, in a couple weeks, we have Forbidden Door. And then a few weeks after that, we have All In the United Kingdom, almost 70,000 tickets now. So you know it's going to be a loud Wembley Stadium. And then a week after that, we have All Out. And then we have our run to Full Gear. So we have from now, and I feel like until the holidays, is booked up. And
that's just AEW. We're not
talking
the
other
SummerSlam.
side of the coin. You have Money in the Bank that's going to be over in England. And then you have SummerSlam in Detroit, which is already a raucous crowd and Canada. You have the AEW Canada shows. You have the WWE International tours. I am so glad because last year when we started this podcast, which is not even a full year yet, by the way, but we said we're excited to see because wrestling's starting to pick up and it's exciting. I'm excited to see wrestling being this healthy again. Ring of Honor, has been revived and has a weekly episodic show on the Honor Club and has their pay-per-views. You have New Japan working with AEW, putting on great pay-per-views on their own, but also teaming with AEW. You have WWE that's been willing to work with some different wrestlers. You have DPW on the indies who's rising up. You have GCW. You have Impact. You have all these great companies. And if you only want to watch one of them, that's great. But if you're like us and you love wrestling, it's great. I mean, sometimes it's overwhelming, the amount of content, but sometimes it's nice if you have nothing to watch. You're like, oh, wait, so it's someone's on, or I DVR'd this, or I can check out, this match on YouTube. Like
9 years ago today, I was tuned into Monday Night Raw.
There's always a plan B.
And I could not believe Seth Rollins turned his back on the Shield. I was in shock. And I had not watched wrestling since forever ago.
So you're saying on this day, 9 years ago.
I couldn't stop watching. I was paying attention to social media when I didn't keep up with cable. Yet no, when I wasn't watching wrestling, I was staying informed. And thanks to that, it led me to being a bigger fan. And I'm very grateful that I got to kind of see a different side to wrestling than most of the fans did, because I didn't see the Shield wrestle. I saw the breakup. I saw Roman Reigns really skyrocket before this Bloodline feud. And to put 2 and 2 together, earlier someone let us know that Solo turned his back on Roman. If this happened, because again, we haven't really looked up into this yet, it's been 9 years since Seth did that to him. Now the Bloodline, all he has is Heyman.
He deserves it. But no, yeah, I mean, I think it's been a great discussion, and I appreciate everything everyone's done. Everyone listening tonight, Anna the Elite, Avalon, Sean, Steve, Sean, we have Crander Q, everyone who's commented, chimed in, thank you so much. We love doing these. We can't do them all the time, obviously, because Emily has schedules of earlier mornings now, and we don't want to keep her up too late and make her too exhausted for work because of responsibilities, but I think it's fun to do these when we can, and we really appreciate the interaction and getting to record this episode. And I had a great time watching Double or Nothing. I always look forward to it. I had a great time watching Dynamite. Looking forward to watching it again next week. I'm looking forward to catching up what I missed for WWE on SmackDown.
Don't be afraid to DM us while you're watching, because we're going to be watching too.
And I watched Battlegrounds. That was great to see Carmelo. I got to see Dijak, that match with him, and that was a brutal match. If you see, it was nice to be able to kind of have a couple of days of just watching wrestling and unwinding and kicking off the weekend. So cheers to everyone. Appreciate everyone. And counting down to the cruise. We just got our survey results back, as well as our Deck Wars information. So depending what color we're on, let's go. I can't wait for that. We have some fun costumes planned. So,
and they announced that Deck Wars is going to include sea animals. So that means that we can go get some fun prints instead of just having a color to wear. We can wear like sharks.
I already
dolphins.
have the idea. I'm really hoping our colors won't think because I already have the idea in the old Brainicles.
You mean the barnacles?
Barnacles? I don't want anything stuck to my barnacles.
Oh, on that note, we better call it a night.
I think so too. So appreciate everyone for tuning in. We want to say thank you to everyone again. Follow us on all of our socials at Cruising with Kayfabe on Facebook and Instagram. You can follow us at It's Mongo on TikTok, at Cruising with Kayfabe _ Emily on TikTok as well. And then you can also check out our soon-to-be site at cwkpod.com. We appreciate everyone for tuning in every week. We appreciate everyone who gives us a 5-star review, lets us know. We couldn't do this without you guys. We've hit a lot of milestones recently, and we're really excited. We have some exciting news to share with you this week, so stay tuned. So until next time, I'm Mongo.
I'm Emily.
And always keep the kayfabe.